I'd had Laredo a couple of years when I really was looking for a new vet, someone that was closer to my house, and somebody that had more of a connection. He was in a veterinary clinic where he just kind of cycled through whoever was on duty, and he didn't really have a vet. I was talking to my neighbor one day, and he had just adopted a dog and had a bunch of dental work done, and was telling me how good his vet was. And under his recommendation, I made an appointment and went and saw Dr. George Nest. Amazing doctor, told me lots of stories, and he was really an amazing man, and we hit it off right away. We shared some stories, and we had a similar past in several aspects of our life. And through the years, we really gained a connection, and he told me lots of stories. One of the stories he told me was first service dog in Vegas, and the struggles the gentleman went through with CCSD, which is Clark County School District, trying to get them to accept the service dog, and finally being able to get his service dog allowed in his classrooms, and the changes it made once the dog was there, the changes it made on the students' lives, and the impacts it had on the school overall. And he cared for that dog. That was his patient. So George had shared a lot of stories with me, and one of the stories he shared with me was about collecting pennies when he was a child, and I shared that my grandfather had done that because George Nest is around the age of my parents. He told me stories of collecting pennies and the different pennies that he would collect. And he told me the one elusive one was a 1909 S penny. And so I would take him little replicas and things like that of the. One time when I went and had Laredo have a checkup, I took him one of those big replicas. Laredo had been on countless trips with us as well, whether it was on a boat or in a car or on an airplane. One of the funny things about being on an airplane is the dog has to sit under the seat in front of you, like where your little bag would go. That's the area for the dog. Well, I have a almost 80-pound Labrador retriever that has to fit in that little space down there that is where my feet are supposed to go, consequently. When I travel with him on an airplane, I usually end up buying an extra seat so that he has that whole floor space underneath on the adjacent seat. And I also have room for all my stuff that I don't want to carry in my lap. We usually get to load first, one of the first people to load. So we're on before a lot of the people even get in line and watch what's going on. And when the plane lands, and Laredo's allowed to get out from underneath the seat, he gets out in the aisle and stretches, and you'll hear gasps and you'll hear people in the back. Oh, we didn't know there was a dog on the plane, and you'll hear a lot of surprise about how there was a dog on the plane. There's a little bit of a pride when that happens, whenever he pops out from underneath the table when we're leaving a restaurant or comes out from under an airplane seat. And the people all around us are surprised because they had no idea there was a dog there, because he is so good and so stoic and so focused on the job he's doing. We get a lot of mixed reactions wherever we go. Sometimes people are really happy to see him. Sometimes people are upset to see him. And some people have a lifeguard tower they want to defend, and they want to know why he's with me and what he needs to do. And there's certain questions and certain things that people can ask and ways they can ask them, and certain ways that they can't. And I guess some people just don't know what rude is. Like one time we were heading into the hospital to visit my wife. The security guard approached me as we're coming into the hospital and asked me if Laredo was a service dog. That's a fair question. Yes, he's a service dog. What does he do for you? That's another fair question. He said he picks things up for me that I drop, and he alerts if I have a problem or fall out of my chair. He alerts for me. And the next thing she said was, well, do you expect to fall out of your wheelchair? Well, no, but I'm not leaving my dog outside. So things like that. I've been questioned numerous times about the authenticity of the dog, and but then I see dogs that are riding around in shopping carts and eating food in the store, and that's always fun because, yeah. But who am I? I don't know what service they're providing, right? My wife is a early education teacher, and whether she's in kindergarten or pre-K or whichever class load she's got at that time, sometimes I'll go visit her and I'll visit her students, and they get to meet the dog. They get to meet Laredo. So that magical age of the kids. And when we go, I take Laredo to go visit the kids. There's always a lot of questions. I give him demonstrations of some things that he can do, and a lot of them want to pet him and hug him. And there's usually a lot of questions of, why I'm in this wheelchair. And my default answer used to be I got stung by a jellyfish, because that would put a lot of question and inquisitiveness behind their eyes and really stump them. And we would move on to something else before they could really process what that was. A sting from a jellyfish could end up with a guy in a wheelchair with a dog that he can talk to. So watching their little brains work it's kind of funny. I've since stopped doing that, but that used to. But those are some of the fun, zany things I do with Laredo. Like this one time we were at the zoo, and there was a kid that was just fascinated with Laredo, and he kept trying to get his parents' attention that were sitting at a table next to us, and they were having a conversation, completely ignoring their kid who was trying, who was watching the dog and then trying to get their attention, and then watching the dog and trying to get their attention. And at first, Laredo was just kind of there hanging out with me. The kid watched Laredo and I come up and sit, get under the table, and his eyes got kind of big. And so then I brought Laredo back up and interacted with him with a little bit. And the kid was watching me. So I reached in my side bag of my wheelchair and I pulled out a banana. I opened the banana and I had Laredo stand on the front steps of my wheelchair. And I told him that he could very gently take a bite of the banana. And he did. And the kid's eyes were... And so as I'm walking through the mechanics of this, I'm speaking to Laredo, and he's, interacting with me and stepping on the front of my wheelchair, and he's watching me open this banana, and he takes a bite of the banana. And then I tell him, to get off the wheelchair and lay down next to it. And this kid is just looking at me like, and then he's trying to get his parents' attention. And I know that no matter what that kid tries to tell them when they get home, or when he finally gets their attention, there's no way that they're going to believe that there was a guy in a wheelchair that could talk to a dog that shared a banana with him. There's no way they're ever going to believe that story. And that kid is going to be telling absolute 100% of the truth. And all of these reactions I get from people wherever I take Laredo, they're so vast and so different. We've been walking through Home Depot that wanted to meet my dog and interact and talk to me about him. Come to find out, he's McGruff, the crime dog for Las Vegas. I can always expect the unexpected from people's reactions when I take Laredo out. There's been people that want to move tables in restaurants or want me to move tables in restaurants so that the dog's not close to them. Mostly it's positive. And so I decided I was going to get a camera and strap it on the dog and get some of these reactions. I got him a harness that he wore, a GoPro harness, and we went out several times. And we got reactions from people. We made several videos. Some of them I haven't even put up or finished editing yet. And it didn't take very long until he did not want that harness on. He got very down. You could tell from his body language he didn't want the harness on. He would do it, but he didn't want to, and you could tell. And then through the summer, I noticed that he started isolating and pulling away a little bit. We had just gotten a kitten, and I thought there was some adjustment period that was happening, but he was starting to go put himself to bed in our bedroom around dinner time. And there was just some separation there. And I thought, well, maybe he's just adjusting to this kitten.